Well, we can see our mistakes and our failures as a positive thing. Okay, so for me, as I was going through and developing my course and developing my business, and I was making mistakes. I was failing. I was very frustrated with a lot of the mistakes that I was making. A lot of failure, a lot of doing things wrong, and not sure exactly how to do it correctly or do it in the way to get the results that I wanted. Now, during this time, I came across this quote that says, "Mistakes are proof that you are trying." And what I did is I stuck that up on my wall, and I used that as my daily reminder to say, okay, I'm going to change. Instead of beating myself up and looking at these mistakes as a negative thing, I'm going to see it as a positive thing. And I'm going to see it as one step closer to getting the results, because I know now what not to do. And I'm one step closer to finding what will work. Now, looking at this in terms of your spoken English and overcoming that fear is just thinking, okay, mistakes in my communication skills and mistakes in my English are going to be part of it. I have to step up, I have to speak, I have to practice these skills that I'm learning, and mistakes are going to be a part of it, but that's okay. It just means that I am practicing and I am learning and I am moving in the right direction. Okay? One thing that does help me is to be able to hear about other people's failures and how they've overcome them. So I came across this that listed a lot of different famous people and how they were able to overcome their failures. Now, Walt Disney, the famous Walt Disney of Disneyland and Mickey Mouse, creator of Mickey Mouse, he was fired from a newspaper early on in his career for lacking imagination and having no original ideas. Now that doesn't quite sound like Walt Disney, but at one time, that's what he came across. That's the failure that he had to face. And thankfully, he overcame that and he tried again. Another one is Michael Jordan, a very famous basketball player here in the United States. He was cut from his high school basketball team for having a lack of skill. Now, this seems crazy to think about now based on what he was able to accomplish in his basketball career. Lack of skill definitely wouldn't describe him, but at that time, that was a failure that he had to overcome. Albert Einstein, famous Albert Einstein, and all the wonderful contributions that he has given to science and to just thinking in general. He did not speak until he was 4 years old, and his teachers had kind of labeled him as he will never amount to much. Okay, obviously he did amount to a whole lot more than that, and contributed so much. Another example is the Beatles, a famous rock band, and they were rejected by a recording studio, which said, we don't like their sound. They have no future in show business. Well, then they overcame that failure and went on to be a world famous rock band. So just some examples, and I guarantee that no matter what famous person or someone who has accomplished great things, if you ask them about their failures, there will be plenty of them. There will be plenty of mistakes they've made. The important part is they got back up and they saw that as not an opportunity to quit, but an opportunity to learn and to grow and to overcome. All right, so we can change our perspective about failure, about overcoming that fear of failure, and by changing that perspective and shifting it. Now the final strategy that I have for you, or suggestion I have for you, is in overcoming fear is to do it. Okay, just do it. Just like that famous saying by Nike, just do it. Now, overcoming fear, courage is not the absence of fear. So it's not like courageous people all of a sudden don't have any fear attached to it. I'm pretty sure that there are very few people who get up to a microphone and don't have that feeling of nerves in their stomach. But courage is not the absence of that fear, but the triumph over it. It's saying, I'm scared of this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that was from, that quote's from Nelson Mandela. Now, as we look at that idea of overcoming our fears by doing, I know that that's what you have to do every single day. You have to speak, you have to communicate in English. And it might be that you shy away from certain conversations, but I encourage you to not do that. I encourage you to do and to speak up and to practice and to keep learning and growing and trying. So that doing is a very important part. Okay, thinking about something won't overcome that fear. It's only by doing, it's action that you're going to overcome the fear of what you are faced with.